Hi, I'm Katie Farrell with Dashing Dish, and at Dashing Dish, I'm all about teaching you how to nourish not only your body, but your soul as well. Today, we're gonna make a really fun and delicious recipe, which is my 1-minute chocolate mug cake. And the great thing about this recipe is that it's not just a 1-minute mug cake and you have to pull out all of your baking ingredients just to make one single cake, but it's really something that is a mix that you can make in advance, and that way you can make one mug cake at a time, ready to go when you are. All you need at that moment is an egg and a little bit of applesauce or mashed banana. So I'll show you how to make the actual overall mix, and you can store this in your pantry or even your fridge for up to 3 months, and then you could also store it in your freezer for about 6 months because it's really just dry ingredients. So to start, we have some oat flour, and oat flour I love to just make my own using old-fashioned oats. And really all you have to do is grind them up into a flour in your blender or food processor. It's much more nutritious for you than white flour or even whole wheat. And then I have some protein powder. Now protein powder is great to add to baked goods because it adds protein that really helps you stay fueled and satisfied for longer. So you could have something that's just carbohydrates, just bread, and you will feel much more satisfied if you add some protein to it. It brings that balance. But you could also swap it out for additional oat flour or even some peanut flour instead. And then we have some unsweetened cocoa powder, and that's what makes this the chocolate mug cake. And then some baking stevia. And I like to use baking stevia, but there's all different kinds of sweeteners that are out there now at the general grocery store that you can find that are much better than just white sugar. Less processed versions of sugar would be coconut sugar or sugar in the raw even. But I like to use stevia in my recipes. It's much sweeter than sugar, and a little bit goes a long way, and it's also a natural sweetener. And then we add some baking soda and some baking powder. So you can see how this makes a really nice big batter of chocolate mug cake mix. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to stir this up really well, and you could bottle this up or put it in some cute mason jars, and you could give it to friends and just, put a little tag with it that says, add some applesauce and 1 egg to 1/4 of this mix, and then just microwave it in a mug for 1 to 2 minutes. And then it's a really cute gift, and it's also a nice portion controlled way to give your friends some sweet treats. So this is what the mix looks like, and the great thing is you can store this just in a Ziploc bag and put it in your pantry, and then like I said, whenever you have a chocolate craving, you just pull the mix out and you get your 1/4 measuring scoop, a mug, and a little spoon, and that's all you need. So I'm going to spray this mug. I would spray this mug or any microwave safe bowl ahead of time, and you just put the dry mix in. And then we have 2 tablespoons of applesauce here. And like I said, you could use mashed banana. You could also use plain Greek yogurt there, just something to give it some moisture. And then 1 egg. And that's all you need to make the cake. And then I'm going to stir this up. And like I said, make sure you definitely spray this mug beforehand, or else it will just all stick on the inside. And then when you stir in the wet ingredients, you will see that you have a nice cake batter consistency here in the mug. And so when you microwave this, it's really going to depend on your microwave, but really 1 to 2 minutes. So I start with a minute, I check on it, and then I add some additional time if I feel like it needs it. You could just stick a little toothpick in there or a knife to see if it comes out clean, and that's how you know it's done. But you could also bake it. If you don't own a microwave, then you can also bake it at 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. And the great thing about this mug cake, you can see the finished product here, is you can top it with whatever you would top some cake with. I did some True Whip here, but you could do plain Greek yogurt. You could do a clean eating frosting recipe. You could do some fruit. Really, you could eat it plain. It's absolutely delicious. And the great thing about these mug cakes is it really is portion controlled. And you can see how you could literally just, take a measuring cup, get some of your batter out, and make a 1-minute mug cake in 1 to 2 minutes. And, that's really important, especially when sometimes we just need that chocolate fix, but we want to do it in a healthier way. And sometimes, a tip that I like to give when it comes to really just having cravings is to have healthier options that are go-tos on hand so that you don't look in your pantry and raid the whole pantry, eat the whole bag of Doritos, eat the whole container of ice cream. If you have something that's on hand that's healthier, then you're gonna tend to go towards that. And also, always tell people, try to not even have things in your house that are tempting to you. So for me, that's ice cream. So when I get ice cream, I go out to have it. I don't keep it in my freezer at home, and that way it's not a temptation at all. But ultimately, it's nice to have these type of recipes that are portion controlled and have them as kind of a backup. Another tip that I have is really think about before you eat. A lot of times, especially as women, we have all kinds of emotions that run through us in a day. And so sometimes I like to take a step back and think, am I eating out of emotion right now, or am I eating out of true hunger? And sometimes it's okay to just have chocolate because you want to have chocolate. But it's also important to ask ourselves that question of, pause and say, am I truly hungry? Or am I looking for something to satisfy me other than food? Because a lot of times we're just looking for that emotional fulfillment that only the Lord can bring. And so when we pause and we take that moment to really decide what's going on here, then we can run to the Lord to satisfy us in a way that only He can. Because there are times where food simply cannot satisfy. The things of this earth will not satisfy us like the Lord's love can. And so when we take time out with Him and we just say, okay, here's all my emotions, God, and we lay them out to Him, He will take our burdens for us. So I hope that brings encouragement for you today. Definitely try out this 1-minute mug cake, especially if you're a chocolate fan, and treat that chocolate craving with a healthier alternative. You can find this recipe at dashingdish.com or ctvn.org.